and welcome back. In this week's video, we're going to have a look at the guitar fretboard and learn, first of all the note names and where you can find them on the fretboard. Let's dive right in. Let's talk about natural notes, which are also called the musical alphabet. These notes are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The tuning, the standard tuning of a guitar, E, A, D, G, B, E, that is our starting point. So if our open string is an A, from there on we have B, C, D, E, F, G, and back to A, from where the cycle restarts. Fret number 12 over here is always the same as the open string. It's called an octave, so it is the same note, but just higher up. If I play the open A and the A of the higher octave, fret 12, here it's the same note, just higher. In some places we skipped a fret, and in some places we didn't. We have our A on the open string. Then for B, we need to skip a fret and play fret 2 on the A string. Now this is called a whole step. So from A to B is a whole step. From B to C, we will not skip a fret, so we will go right to the next one. And this is a half step. On a guitar fretboard, each fret is a half step. But when it comes to the notes, sometimes there's a whole step in between, sometimes a half step. From C to D, it's a whole step. From D to E, a whole step. But from E to F, half step. F to G, whole step. And from G back to A, a whole step. From B to C and from E to F are half steps, and you don't skip a fret. And otherwise there's always a whole step, as in one fret in between the notes. This thing is very well visualized on a piano keyboard, because if you look at the white keys, you notice that in between some of them there are black keys, but between B and C and E and F, no black keys. To figure out the notes on the E string, we're just gonna start our cycle from the E note. Between an E and F is a half step, so we know that our F note is fret number 1 on the E string. From E to F to G to A to B to C to D and back to E. And now your task is to figure out the rest of the strings. But don't worry, there's actually only 3 for you to go, because the big E and the tiny E string are of course the same. E notes. What we have to figure out next is how this thing works on the other strings as well. We have our notes. We know the order of them. It's the same than in the alphabet, and then it just keeps repeating. We also know where we have to remember to place the half steps and the whole steps. We have our starting note, an E. The open string is an E note. We know that from E to F is a half step, so we only move 1 fret up. From E to F to G to A to B. Then there's again a half step to C to D and an octave to E. So maybe after you know where the octaves are, from E to E, A to A, D to D, if you need to figure out something there in between, you already have another starting point from where to start counting. It's a really good skill if you are able to internalize all the notes, but it's enough if you're able to figure out and find the notes that you need. So now we know all the natural notes of the musical alphabet, but then you might have heard things like C sharp, A flat. So what are these things then? You remember that we skipped frets when we were locating the natural notes? Sharps and flats are these in-between notes. Up here we had our G and our A. If we would want to move up from the G note to this in-between note, we would call it a G sharp, from G to G sharp. But if we move down from A, we call it an A flat, from A to A flat. Just by remembering that sharps go up and flats go down, you'll be able to name each and every one of the in-between notes as well. Cool! Now we know the musical alphabet, we know the names, and we know how we can figure out where the notes are on the fretboard. It might be slow at first, but don't worry, that's totally fine to take your time to figure it out. For practicing this though, I would highly recommend for you to always say the notes out loud while you're playing it. It'll help you to internalize the information. Also, you can use a metronome for helping you out. Set it to a steady beat. Try to keep at the tempo. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Start from a slower tempo, and then once you're comfortable with it, speed it up, because that's also a good way to challenge yourself to locate the notes faster. But this is it for today. If you want to read more, head out to our blog post where you can find a few more tips and also a fretboard cheat sheet. It's linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.